Let's see. Everything looks healthy so far.
It looks healthy. Feels healthy.
Let's see. Yeah, stream. Do you look healthy? Excellent condition. That's what I like to see.
Oh, nice.
Facebook says live.
Facebook says live.
So
it is live.
It's in better
Shared.
condition than I am.
All right.
So that's good. All right. Well, it sounds like it's time.
It's time.
It's
play
time.
It's
The
time.
theme song, which hopefully will be streamed.
I loved closing last time.
It's Church Chat,
There it goes.
Church Chat with Pastors Dan and Dave. Come hang out with us on our stream. It's Church Chat Wednesday.
It is Church Chat Wednesday, and you can see us this week. Tell me you can see us this week.
Yeah,
And hear us and all of those things. So
Put something in the message so we
Yes,
know.
let us know that it's working. This week, last time it was just it was there were gremlins and all sorts of terrible
But James
things.
had it working
But-
within an hour.
Oh,
after
of
we
course,
were done.
of course he does.
I had it stuck together with chewing gum.
It was, but we did it. It went. But this week, I think we're back to, God is smiling on us in the technology area. So
I
I'm
don't know
Pastor
what it is
Dan,
you did, but
I don't know.
and I'm Pastor Dave.
and James Adkins, the wizard himself, over there doing all of the technology things.
This is all going to come crashing down.
It's like we've tempted fate too much by saying so many things about it. So, yeah, we're back, and our guest today is
Gary Bright,
Gary Bright, who is
injury prevention coordinator
for Hancock Health,
for a place in town.
and so he'll be coming on in just a little bit. Had an article in the paper yesterday,
Yeah.
and so we'll have him talk about that.
No, Gary, a long time. He's our kids grew up together. He had
Oh yeah,
He had a son, my oldest boy's age, and a daughter, my middle boy's age, and so our kids kind of grew up together. But a lot of people know Gary. He's been in mental health and addiction specialist in town for a long time.
Yeah.
A long time. So
cool. So I wanted to tell you a story to start this off because I thought I don't think I've told you this yet. I thought you'd get a kick out of it. So Lois Teetsworth. Have I told you this story yet? Okay.
I don't know, but I'm smiling.
I know.
Could be going.
Lois is amazing. If you don't know her, she's one of the organists at church. She'd been in a car accident a little while ago. Was pretty banged up, but she's back home, recovering at home. Hopefully, in a couple of weeks, she's going to be back playing at church again, which is awesome. Because we weren't sure if that was going to be able to happen for a while, but it looks like it is. So anyway, Eleanor McCoy, our other organist, called her up the other day just to ask how she was doing. And Lois said, God has blessed me so much. And it's like, which is such a Lois thing to say. And Eleanor said, that's great. What's been going on? And she said, well, first of all, somebody just gave her one of those lift chairs, which are really expensive. And so she's able to just, to get up a lot easier. And that's really a part of what she's had to work on with her knee and everything, being able to stand up and all of that. So that's great. She said, and then just a little while ago, the doorbell rang and I couldn't get up fast enough to get there. But I go to the door and I open it and there's a bag sitting there. And it says DoorDash on the side. She said, I didn't order anything. But she looked at it and it was a bag full of Five Guys burgers and fries.
Awesome.
And so she calls up Five Guys and says, I didn't order anything. And they said, isn't this address? She said, nope. And said, oh, we sent it to the wrong place. She said, well, do you want me to call them so they can come get it? They said, nope, that's yours now. Can you imagine how favored by God you must be to just have Five Guys just dropped on your doorstep?
Yeah.
No cost to you, just out of the blue by accident.
That is awesome. And she is
Favored by God.
Yes.
There's no question about it. So that's got to be one of the. I would be telling that story for the rest of my life.
Well, one of the things about Lois that people don't know is if you ever notice when Dan or I, before we preach or we start the service, we'll end up at the organ because she always just likes to anoint us before we start.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And it's always just like, it's like getting a hug.
It
just-
is.
and then you will anoint her back, and she says, "I receive your
I
anointing."
receive your.
Yeah,
I love it.
she's the best.
She's one of the good ones. She reminds me so much of, and lives close to where my grandma lived, and she's been on my mind a lot today. Her name was Dixie McGinley, but actually her real name was Adeline, and that's who we named our daughter after. So 4 years ago today is when she passed away, which was 20 years to the day that her husband, my grandpa, had passed away.
Wow.
So this day, 24 years ago, I found out my grandpa passed away, and then it was exactly 20 years after that she passed away.
Wow.
But yeah, just great people of faith, and Lois reminds me in so many different ways. Now, Lois is my grandma is a lot. I'm not trying to sound rude in any way towards Lois or anybody, but my grandma was very quiet and soft spoken, and Lois is much more outgoing
Yes.
than what my grandma was, but still with their faith is what just
Yeah.
it really reminds me of. And actually, I think they were in a Bible study together at one point in
Really?
time back in the day. My mom was telling me that she thinks they were in a Bible study
That's
together.
cool.
So yeah, that's kind of cool.
If I
Yes.
could interject,
Yes,
I
you
would
can.
like to let you know that. Oh, hey, where's my Mac camera? There it is. Hi. I would like to let you know that that Holly says she can hear and see us. So,
Hooray!
so the hamster's running just fine today.
Woohoo.
And Kelly says, "Yo yo yo, I love Gary Bright."
Okay, speaking of Kelly,
Yes.
she hooked Dave and I up with some sweet merch. So I believe we have a picture of
And
Dave.
I was going to wear my merch today.
I was too. I forgot. I
I
forgot.
couldn't
to do
find
it.
mine. I
no,
think
you
it might
guys.
be in the laundry.
No.
You guys, all right? You want to
I
see
don't
it?
know.
Here we
Yep,
go. Ready?
Yep,
Here it
pull
comes.
it up. Look at that.
Look
The
at
quarantine queen
that merch. Merch
herself.
for every occasion. And I like it says K-Bib.
K-Bib. And the saying underneath is, if I remember right, I can't see it from there. If you can't say something nice,
If you can't
says-
be
if you
kind,
can't be kind, then don't speak.
then
be-
be
Then be
Quiet.
quiet. That's
Quiet,
it.
yeah.
If you can't be kind, then be quiet.
the pictures. The picture's backwards. I can't read the. Right. I
You
think I
can't
can
be
fix
kind,
that.
then
Hold
be
on.
quiet.
But I appreciate the merch.
I love it. Thank you, Kelly.
Flip horizontal.
If
There it
we
goes.
ever get merch, we'll make sure that you get some.
Yes, and if
We'll return
I
the favor.
wash that shirt, I will wear it. Here.
I'm tempted to leave this little thing up,
Just for the whole time.
For the whole time.
It is. You might have a career in modeling.
I could, I think,
Anytime we have a guest, I think I could actually put that up so that's what the guest sees. I think that would be-
That'd be a treat for them. That'd be a real treat. So Garrett's going to be coming on here in a couple minutes. Just let us know when he's here. But until then, oh, I heard a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, that's working. Hey, also my I work with a drummer named Mark Slapdaddy. You guys met him? He says, "Ain't nothing like some God and Jesus talk."
There you go. Slap Daddy. I like Slap Daddy.
Oh, he's a good.
I
dude.
just like the
He's a
name.
good dude.
That's
More
a
than
great
anything.
name.
He says,
How do you get it? Well, I mean, he's a drummer, so I am assuming Slap Daddy is a drumming nickname and not something else. But yeah, I mean, how do you get a cool nickname?
You
like
have
that?
to be cool to get a cool
You can't
nickname,
give.
man.
I know you can't give yourself a nickname. It's
That's-
really one of the.
That's where it trips us up.
It's one of the tragedies of life.
Yeah.
Yep.
And and he's just he's always told me, he's like, man, God, core, and country. That's what I'm about.
I love it.
Sweet.
In that order.
I love it.
So okay, hey, we do have our guest. Let me go get that going before you
All right.
guys start chatting about something, and I have to cut you off.
Well,
so.
we'll go ahead and bring up our guest, but
Let's join
I will
them.
tell you that I gave Tina, if you're watching, hello, gave her some eggs, and she gave me some fresh pears in return. It was
saw
very nice.
Okay, let's.
Our church is like a farm market.
It is.
All right. Do we have Gary with us?
Yeah, well, give me one
Yeah.
second. I want to make sure
Can
I
you
got
hear me?
the
I
NDI
can hear
source.
you.
There's the NDI source. Okay. He's kind
Are
of
we doing-
covering you up right
Everybody's on video, is that right?
Yep, we got everybody on video. So,
Yep.
hey, Gary, this is Pastor Dan Metzger here, and I'm here with
Dave Charles.
who
How
I
are
think
ya?
you've been talking to. So, Dave, go ahead
All
and
right.
kick us off.
So, Gary, you want to tell us about what you do as the injury prevention coordinator?
Sure. Basically, it's simple and it's complicated. The simple part of it is basically anything related to overdose prevention, to drug overdose prevention. So it's a grant-funded program by the Ohio Department of Health, and the main focus is just simply reducing overdoses and particularly overdose fatalities in Hancock County. So that's the short version.
Awesome.
Our circles have crossed a lot in the last 20 years or so.
Yeah.
And I've always kind of known you to be in sort of the mental health profession. Who is this agency connected with?
Hancock Public Health is the local health department.
Okay.
So we're the same place where if you had a positive COVID test, we'd be calling you to do the contact tracing. So public health has, yeah. So I kind of get your question because it's a little bit odd for me to be working in public health after working for so long directly in like mental health and addiction treatment agencies. It was odd to me when I heard about this position. I didn't realize that public health got into this kind of thing. But I kind of I've been here since just November. And before that, I was doing individual counseling at Firelands Hospital System up in their Fostoria office. But then I heard about this position and checked it out, and I just thought, boy, I mean, so I wanted to learn a little bit more about it, and yeah, it's pretty much we're focused on what we call harm reduction, which is basically kind of accepting people where they're at as they are. So that may mean that they are currently actively using drugs. And we're still going to work with them. We're not going to judge them for where they're at. And we're going to try to give them tools and information to help them do what they're currently doing anyway, but more safely. And then as they're ready and when they're ready, we can then get them connected to that, whether it's the treatment system or it could be like a faith-based support. It could be, any combination of things as they're ready for it. But our hope is that we'll end up being like another open door for those people who right now don't have any door open to them as they see it. Because again, I mean, if you're actively using drugs, the treatment agency isn't really open to you because you're not ready for treatment. And the 12-step system isn't really open to you because that's based on abstinence, and you're really not ready for abstinence. So, you're out there right now not being so safe, and you're not connected to really any part of the support community. So now we hopefully, again, are going to be like a door they can walk through where we're going to at least be able to tell them, hey, we see you, we accept you, we care about you, and we would like you to stay alive and be safe. And that's it. In the beginning, that's it. Now, if you ask for more and you're ready for more, we want to get you connected to all of those other things as well. But again, right now, this is sort of a new part of the system we've been trying to build for years, kind of this catching that group of people who, like I said, just right now are kind of out there not connected to anybody or anything.
So, how have you seen? Where would you say Hancock County is right now? Are we seeing overdoses rise? Are we level? And how has
Yeah.
COVID kind of affected that? Because it feels like it would be a situation where the more people are home and bored and all of these things, like there's just more opportunity for that.
Yeah, absolutely. We have seen things increase since COVID. And a lot of it has to do with, that basic human need for connection. And again, I'm sure you guys see it through your church. I mean, you have people who, that face-to-face connection with their, church community is so important to them. And yes, as much as we like to say, this virtual stuff can still give you a connection, it's not the same kind of connection. Right. Like if you're in addiction, it's accountability is pretty important, with your support system. And I think like the depth of connection is pretty important when you're in addiction. So if I'm not speaking as someone who I've got to say, really knows what it's like to live with addiction. But we do have actually a peer support specialist, is what they're called, on staff. And he is a person who is in recovery. And he's worked as a peer support specialist at the hospital, and now he works with us as well. But, he's shared with me that, like from his perspective, since a lot of the support groups and things have gone online, it's just a little bit easier to just kind of tell people what they want to hear, that everything's fine with you. Maybe not give the people the full story, and just not feel as connected and accountable for that relationship, for that support relationship. So again, this is all still, we have to still be doing these online connections, because it's a heck of a lot better than no connection.
Right.
For sure. Absolutely. But yeah, I just think, I was just talking, we have the Hancock County Opiate and Addictions Task Force. Are you kind of familiar with that in town? So, and I sit on all those subcommittees of that group. And I also co-chair the medical subcommittee with Dr. Coase from the hospital. But I was sharing with them in talking with the folks we work with. So again, these are people who are either in recovery or they're still actively using. They seem to have people, I think all of us actually, not just the folks we work with, have gotten in that pattern of not reaching out as much as we used to, because it's kind of like, well, there are real concrete safety concerns with doing that still right now. So, when you get into that pattern, it's it takes energy to get back out of that pattern. It's like learning any new habit. Even though it's natural for us, like I said, to want that connection and to seek it out, once we've not had it for so long, even though it's not a good pattern to get into.
Yeah. Oh, did we freeze?
It looks like it might have frozen, but I think it's not on our end.
All right. Well, hopefully we can get him back, but I mean,
Into those. Oh,
can we hear
are
you?
we back?
Yep. Do you hear us?
Yep.
All right. Good deal. You're back.
You froze a little bit.
We just froze up a little bit. I wasn't sure if you froze or if it was a dramatic pause.
It was right about the
Let's
time
see.
when you were talking about getting used to not having that connection.
Yeah, so I just think since people have kind of gotten into that pattern, not just here at the health department, but people at treatment agencies I've talked to and stuff are all saying, hey, we've got to find some creative ways to reach back out to these folks, to encourage them to reach back out to us. And so yeah, for all those reasons, kind of all that stuff I described, it just puts folks in living with addiction at higher risk of relapse,
Yep.
then of overdose, of, you know, all that stuff. Their mental health issues, anxiety, all that stuff goes up. So we've even unfortunately seen, you know, suicides going up, and not pleasant stuff to talk about, but reality.
But yeah, it is.
sure.
It's reality.
Yeah.
So what would you say to us, to a church, to just individuals in the community about how we can be supportive of the work that you do, and also just in general in the community around areas of addiction?
I think one thing is, you know, just encouraging people to educate themselves about what addiction is. Because, like, for example, you know, when we put out that, you know, we had the 2 articles in the paper Monday, and the one in particular was about our public Narcan distribution coming out this Friday from 11 to 1 at the Marathon Center. And a lot of the comments, unfortunately, you know, really focused on, you know, addiction is not a disease, it's a choice, you know, and you know, calling people living with an addiction, you know, those people, you know, they're, I mean, sometimes outright saying, hey, if they made that choice, then I guess death is the natural consequence, you know.
Wow.
Not caring if the people, you know, live or die, if that's a choice they're making. And so, and none of that means any of those people are bad people, you know, or in any way. It just means, kind of like with racism or with, you know, any other issue, if you don't understand, you know, then you're going to have your opinion based on your current level of understanding.
Yeah.
So if we can encourage people to educate themselves about the fact that, you know, addiction is a disease, just like depression, you know, just like bipolar disorder, like schizophrenia, like, honestly, diabetes, heart disease, it's a medical condition that affects the brain. And how does it do that? You know, and how can we learn about that? There's one, I was just looking up, there's a really good website specific to addiction. It's called Addiction Policy Forum. And the web address is just addictionpolicy.org. That's probably the best thing. We've just recently learned about it. That's the best site I found, where just like any layperson could just get on there and surf around and learn a whole lot about the disease of addiction.
And we'll put that in the comment section right now so people can check that out.
Yeah, so I, like, from a faith perspective, to me, you know, if my minister were just, you know, relaying to me, hey, you know, the importance of compassion and, you know, those kind of qualities is what we're looking at here. It's not, you know, it is not our position to judge. You know, it's our position to have compassion for people and try to understand. And I think, you know, in my, you know, upbringing, you know, in the church I went to, you know, what I was taught about, you know, how Jesus lived and interacted with people, it was very much from a perspective of compassion.
Right.
You know, it wasn't, you know, you need to feel bad for, you know, making this or that choice or having this or that disease or.
Yeah. Oh, we freeze up on him again.
Yeah, I think he's freezing up on us a little.
All right. Well, if we can get him back, we'll try to get, you know, where people can contact him. We got you back.
There he is.
But, you know, and give them this whole laundry list of reasons why they should feel bad for having high blood pressure. It's like, well, wait a minute. How is that helping that person? You know, and instead look for the opportunities to help. You know, look for a reason to have compassion for that person.
And it's easy. It's easy, I think, for people to, when it's somebody you don't know. It's just when it is, you know, those people and you're distanced from it. It's hard to be compassionate. But when you actually get to have discussions with people, and people's minds change when it's their own son or daughter, when it's their own loved one in some way that's going through this. The comments like, well, then they should just die. That's your eyes get opened a little bit more when it gets closer to home, when it hits closer to home. And so I think a part of our job as people of faith is to always help people see the humanity that this is a beloved child of God, regardless of what it is they're going through. That's a part of what we're called to do. Where can people reach out to you, or to the agency if they know somebody that needs help?
Yeah, they can. Well, if they want, they can just call me directly. My direct office extension is 567-250-5151. And I would encourage anybody to just call me directly, or my email is just gbright@hancockph.com. They give that out to anybody and everybody you want. I would always tell people, and a lot of folks have my cell number too. I won't necessarily give it out right here, but
that's fine.
But a lot of the community has my cell number, because I tell anybody, I would much rather have you call me on a Saturday, Sunday evening, whatever, if you have an issue with, it could be mental health or addiction issue with a loved one, you don't feel either comfortable reaching out to somebody you don't know, like at an agency or something, you just want to talk through it with someone who's familiar with the system and troubleshoot a little bit, I'm willing to do that, because I don't care if it's a service we provide. I'm familiar enough with the services in town that I'm glad to have a confidential conversation with anybody and help point them in the right direction. So,
all right. Well, we appreciate it. Appreciate what you do for the community.
Absolutely.
Thanks for seeing the humanity in people that a lot of others want to just cast aside. And we're very thankful that there's people like you in our community doing that kind of work.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
All right.
Absolutely. Take care, Gary.
Take care. Bye.
All right. Yep. Bye-bye.
It takes special people to be able to do those kinds of things. And, I'm very thankful for people like that in our community who are caring for others.
Yeah, to be honest with you, that was kind of a rough interview. I mean, emotionally.
Yeah.
I just, you look at Facebook, you look at all these things, and people are almost looking for an excuse to be mean. You hear it all the time, the dumbing down, my words, the wussification of our society. I mean, it's almost like people are looking for an excuse to be mean. And what really hit my heart is when he said they're there just so people can be seen. I mean, that's who Jesus was.
Yeah.
He
saw people nobody else saw.
Right. And he walked beside them and didn't necessarily say, you being addicted to drugs is okay.
Right.
But like I tell the kids all the time, he left people, places, and things better than when he found them. And that all starts with compassion and caring.
Yeah, the woman at the well, I think, is a great example. He knew what was going on in her life. He knew that she was, in the middle of a relationship that she shouldn't be in, and, that she was doing some things she shouldn't do. He knew that, but none of the conversation before that, leading up to him, telling her, hey, I know this about you, none of it was vindictive or anything. It was just friendly. You are a human being. He wasn't supposed to talk to her in any way, shape, or form. She's an adulterer. She's a woman that was not his wife, which in that time and place, you didn't talk to women that you weren't married to. And she was a Samaritan. I mean, the wrong kind of person. She was those people. And that's immediately who he goes up to and has a conversation with. Just seeing them, I think, is huge.
And something that gets overlooked in that story that I think is important. I mean, I think people just tend to whitewash the story a little bit. And okay, so she kind of changed the way she was living, probably at the end. She became an evangelist. If you look, she kept she kept telling her story over and over.
Yeah.
And it says in that,
Come
at
meet
end
the
of that
man who told
story,
me everything about myself.
And
Could this
more
be
and
the
more
Messiah?
people kept
Yep.
coming.
Yeah.
I mean, he changed her life.
Right. Yeah. Totally radically changed her life. And it was all from seeing her. So we can keep going down this path if you have some more things you wanted to say on it. But I had another thing that I wanted to kind of bring up. You have something else?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So this has been something I've been thinking about this morning, and I want to get your take on it. So got a very nice email from someone this morning. Those are always so nice to get.
Yes.
Very nice email from somebody who, and I'm going to keep them anonymous, but say, hey, recently came to your church not all that long ago, and I had always been a part of the Catholic Church, and now I'm coming here, and we have felt so at home and so welcomed and all of these things. And they said, I have a lot of friends who are still a part of the Catholic Church, but who are asking me about my experience at St. Mark's and whether or not they should come. And he said, of course I've encouraged him, told him that I've had a great experience and all these things, and that I think it's really about, having your, finding a place where you can get to know Jesus and be a part of a church that really lives out its faith, and which is a high compliment, and I really appreciated
Absolutely.
that. So, but you want to know, what would I say to these people? I'm interested to hear what you would say to these people.
What is the question? Because you went like a long
Well,
way.
the question is, this: he has these friends who are still a part of the Catholic Church. Should they switch and come to St. Mark's?
My response would be, if you're finding belonging where you're at, don't switch.
Right,
I mean,
and I think that's a part of the issue for them is that, and we know that the Catholic Church has gone through some things, especially here in town and that kind of stuff. But that doesn't. That's just a part of the issue. There's been other things for them as well.
Absolutely, if you're not finding comfort and belonging where you're at, absolutely, you deserve to try us or anyone else. I mean, God's dream for us is to be connected with each other and with Him.
Sure.
And I don't think we need to settle.
Right. No.
On the flip side of that, you don't want to be one of those people who are constantly.
Right.
It is a Walmart world who are constantly shopping, but you deserve connection and belonging with each other and with God. And so, if you're not finding that where you're at, then I would highly recommend that you try us or somewhere else.
See, so I was always raised that your church is your church, and that's where you stick. Like you stay there through thick and thin. You stay there. Part of it, a part of that getting pounded into my head came from, of all places, do you know the name Ray Boltz?
Yes,
Christian
I do.
singer from back in the day. He had a song called Church Hop. Don't you be doing that church hop, because once you get started, you just can't stop. Don't you be doing that church hop. It was, yeah. So it's this whole song about people who are like, hey, you shouldn't bounce around to different churches. There's a whole song about that, which I don't know. So that was ingrained in me. So I've been thinking about it, and I don't know how I necessarily feel. I'm not interested, honestly, as a pastor, in just bringing people from other churches into our church. If they want to come, everybody is more than welcome to come, but that's not my target audience, right? Our target audience is people who do not have a relationship with Jesus, and we want to help them find a relationship with Jesus. That's the target. Now we know that that is just a percentage of the people that actually come to our church for the first time. A lot of them had different church backgrounds, moved into town, something at their church, moved in. So I've been trying to think about, when is it okay? When is it okay to say to your church where you currently are, I think I need to look somewhere else?
Well, I think if it leaves you stuck in your faith, here's a really good example. I've heard that Cedar Creek, and I believe this. Cedar Creek, we all know who Cedar Creek is. They have like 80 different satellite churches somewhere.
Yeah.
That no other church lives out their mission like they do. And their mission, what they are, is an on ramp
Yeah.
for faith.
Yep.
And they do a really good job. Here, we're going to get you connected with faith, but occasionally, this is my understanding, is they will say to the congregation, hey, if you feel good in your faith and you feel like you're a mature Christian and you'd like to go somewhere else, we encourage you to do so. In other words,
Bye.
we need some seats so
Get
we
out.
can continue to be this on.
Right. Yeah.
But again, what they're doing, and they're doing well, is encouraging you to make that connection. I mean, I really do think if any place is leaving you stunted in your faith, yeah.
I think that is so.
But that puts all the responsibility on the church, and that's not fair
Right.
either.
So exactly. So here's how I've kind of come down on it, and I just wanted to kind of get your take on this. Church membership for me is if you want to become a member of the church, that's terrific. I never force people to become a member of the church. I look at it as you're taking the relationship to the next level, right? We're not dating anymore. We're getting hitched. We're getting hitched. And just like a wedding, when you become a member of the church, you make vows. And you say that I am going to support this church with in the Methodist church, we say with our prayers, presence, gifts, service, and witness. Like these are the things that we are pledging to the church that we are going to do. Now, on the flip side, the church, and we do this as a congregation, we make vows back to them. It's not one-sided. We say that we are going to, encourage you in your faith and confirm your hope and help perfect you in love. So I guess where I'm going with that, the more I've thought about this, is I feel like if your church has broken that covenant.
I kind of figured that's where you were going.
Yeah.
And I like it.
If your church breaks that covenant with you, then maybe that releases you. Now, just like any marriage covenant, you work through things the best you can until there's irreconcilable differences or something along those lines. But if they are no longer, helping you in your faith or working to perfect you in love or giving you any hope whatsoever, if they are not helping to do that, then I would say the church is breaking their covenant with you.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just kind of where I've come
that.
down on that.
And I know we could go on and on about this forever, really, because as well as I do, one of the disappointing things as a pastor is when it just becomes a big sheep shuffle.
Yeah, that does nothing for me.
And occasionally we do run into those people who are lifelong seekers. I'm going to try out this one for 5 years, be over here for another 5 years, and so we kind of get a gamut of it all. And I will say that it does seem like a lot of the people that we've seen in the last year or two who've come to St. Mark's do have a little bit of a more mature faith, and it's not just a seeker. It's not just
I'm bouncing around to find the kind of music I like.
Or the kids program, whatever.
There is like I want to live out my faith in a certain way,
right?
And feel like this is a place where I can do that, and I appreciate that. I do. But anyway, it was just interesting to me. And one of the things that I appreciate about the Methodist Church in general and St. Mark's is, we have some people at St. Mark's that are lifelong Methodists. But a lot of times, the people that come to our churches are, a Baptist married a Catholic. And so I guess I'll go to a Methodist church. Like that's just kind of how it ends up working out. We're a nice little happy medium. We're we're not too offensive to anyone or in any way. We're very vanilla in a lot of ways.
But we used to get a lot of what I called Catholic refugees.
Sure. Yeah.
And that was, well, a lot of people were attracted to us because it's not the 7-minute homily. They
Right.
They'd never really heard sermons that
Sure.
were, 20 minutes, a half an hour long, and that was really appealing to them.
Yeah.
So, and of course, the different music and a break from tradition and that kind of thing. So,
Yeah. I just found it was a very interesting discussion because these are people who are already a part of a church, right? They're a part of of something, and they want to know whether or not I think they should come to our church instead. And so I was just trying to think because of course our doors are open for anyone who wants to come. But what would I advise people to do? If you feel like your church has broken its covenant towards you, that's when I feel like, okay, you might have a case. But otherwise, you've made some vows to that church before God and man. And I guess I take that kind of thing seriously if you've done. Now, if you've never become a member of that church and you've never done that, I think you're open to date who you want. And, you could go check it out. But there is something to be said for settling down.
and where that gets a little pinchy, I'm going to say it. It's tough to say, but there has been a big betrayal
Sure. Yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
Here with
And it's just like in a marriage when for some people they can work through that. For others, this is a bridge too far, and I just can't. And I respect that. I will also say that St. Mark's won't always get it right.
oh yeah,
We'll mess up. And I'll mess up. You'll mess up. But we'll get things wrong from time to time. It's going to happen, But we will. I mean, it's a part of my calling to try to always live into that covenant, not just with our members, but with all people who come through our doors. Feel a very strong responsibility of helping people to continue to grow in their faith and in knowledge and love of Jesus. And if I'm ever not doing that, or we as a church are not doing that, I would tell you you should find a place that is, because you deserve that. So, anyway.
yeah.
What?
Nothing. It just you threw me under the bus.
did.
That was very surprising. We're in the midst of this talk. We've kind of been all over the place.
We really have, I
covered
know.
a lot of territory today of a serious nature, and then you just kind of pushed David.
I couldn't help it.
Yeah,
So-
that was pretty good.
All right. We have been all over the place today. James, how are we doing over there?
We are doing well.
Has everybody just been sitting back and listening to us wax poetic?
For the most part, Denise Green on YouTube said, great discussion about bias against those with drug addiction.
Yeah.
Two things I want to bring up before we go. Number
Sure.
one is one of our teams got almost 200 points in the fantasy league.
It was not mine, and it was not James.
I can't even see my team, so
I need to help you with that today.
no, there's no helping me.
But
I'm
the
No,
other-
because your number one guy busted up his knee and is gone for the season.
So
I'm
we gotta
gonna
bench him.
help you with that today before I go.
All right, fix me.
I had a similar situation. And the other is we've been talking about getting James out to the golf course. I found something that may allure him.
Okay.
It was called Fling Golf.
Okay, I saw that. It's like the thing where you just.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like it looks like
It's like the
a
thing,
golf club.
Yeah, but it's like the thing that
But
you play fetch
flick
with.
it, and then at some point you can pitch with it, and you can also putt with it.
Really?
Yeah, you got to watch the video.
I'll have to watch the video. But he needs left-handed golf clubs. But I guess that
Yeah,
wouldn't matter.
that would be a stick, so you could either
We
side.
just give James a stick and say, "Go play with this stick."
So I have been playing a lot of frisbee golf lately.
Frolf.
Yeah, well, I guess is that what the kids are calling it? But yes, So it's not like I have no golf.
I see
in my
you've got.
life.
So do you have like the driver and the putter and the whole?
Yes.
I've never been.
Never done any.
Well, guess what? There's 2 courses right around here. There's one right by Emory Adams. So.
Yep.
Do you catch Pokemon while you're out there?
I don't.
And you can really 2 birds with 1 stone. There.
Probably. Honestly, I really haven't been doing much of that. I needed that to get out of the house back when we were stuck. But now that I'm out and about, I kind of do it a little less than I was.
Okay.
So the answer to your question is honestly no, I have not done.
I'd be willing at some point in time to forego the actual. Maybe when the weather starts to turn, and they're not doing and the golf course is closed, that'll be a good time to get in because you can for all 4 seasons. I would say.
Are there really people that call it that?
I don't know.
No.
I think you
I
just
do.
made it up.
Go
So
ahead.
next week
Yeah.
we're having Corinne on,
Yes.
and we're going to talk about coming back to church.
We'll talk about our second phase of reopening that's coming up. So this will be our last Sunday where we are just everybody in the dock at 10 a.m. After that, it's going to change. We'll be back 9 o'clock traditional, 10 o'clock Sunday school, 11:15 contemporary service. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. You'll be seeing in the next few days. We approved last night at leadership kind of what our reopening plans look like, and we'll make sure we send that out to everybody so that you all know what to kind of expect. Main thing is you still got to wear the mask, but if you have the mask on and you stay spread out, you can sing, and we'll have words on the screen and all that good stuff in both services.
Sounds fancy.
It is. We're getting back. We're slowly but surely. Again, if we go red, we shut everything back down. But hopefully that doesn't happen. We'll have a bunch of hand sanitizer everywhere. Please use that.
But then we don't have a guest for a while.
Okay.
So if anybody has a suggestion, we would love that.
Yep.
And another thought I was even thinking, what if we had people even just ask questions, like kind of like the questions you were always afraid to ask?
I love that.
And we just did like an hour of that. So
Yeah, we could do that.
leave comments. But
Okay.
That's all I have. So I cut you off.
No, that's cool. I was just I don't want to step on the toes of next week's show. Where we're talking that stuff.
Sounds like I'm gonna have to start working harder.
Yeah, I mean, what do you even do?
Nothing.
Poor James. The things this poor guy has to do behind the scenes. It's pretty incredible.
You're kind of mean today.
I am. I'm feeling a little feisty. I'm sorry.
It's equal opportunity though, so that's
It is. That's true. That's true. So yeah. All right. Check out Spark Kids Online. That should be on. She said she forgot to do one last week, but she was gonna make this one extra good.
Cool.
So Corinne will be putting that up if it's not up already. And then, yeah, be with us live in person or online at 10 a.m. this Sunday. And then after that, yeah, we'll be switching up the times on Sunday mornings. So
make sure to smash that subscribe button.
yeah, ring that bell. Ring that bell. I think that's all. Is that it?
Yep, that's
All
it.
right, that's it.
So you liked singing to church chat theme last night?
Oh, we did. Yeah, we sang it
Yes.
together. Are we doing that again?
Well, what if we try singing with the theme
Yes,
playing?
play it and
'Cause,
we'll sing along.
You know, you guys have microphones. We can do that.
All right, let's
All
let's
right.
do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, here it comes.
It's Church Chat with Pastors Dan and Dave. Come hang out with us on our stream. It's Church Chat Wednesday.
Oh, it was so glorious.
That
That was
was
so
fun.
good. All right, we'll see you all later. Take care.
Peace.